Hey everyone, welcome to the video today. I'm going to have a look at how we can connect the MPC to external gear. So if you are interested in that, stick around because I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? In this case, we're using a digitone and we're going to learn how we can connect the two, tempo, sync, and also sending MIDI messages to each other. Okay, first of all, we need to have a MIDI cable. I have one connected already, and this one has an adapter. So this is what you'll see in many devices nowadays. If I just disconnect this, you'll see that that is a MIDI cable. And now they come, you see a lot of machines coming with this adapter. You'll see that the MIDI inputs on new machines nowadays will just look like that. Okay, it's just a MIDI adapter. Okay, so I just connected that to the MIDI out of the MPC. And when you connect something to the output, it means that you're going to be sending messages from the machine, in this case from the MPC. It's going to be sending MIDI messages out, and at the other machine, at the other device that you have, you're going to have to plug into the MIDI input. The digitone has the MIDI cable that's coming from the MIDI out of the MPC to the MIDI in of the digitone. Okay, so MIDI out sends messages, MIDI in receives messages. You also have MIDI through. It means that when you want to send messages to other devices, because the MPC only has one MIDI out, you can send MIDI messages to this machine and then on this one, so on the MIDI through, you can send messages to other machines. Okay, so one of the things that we need to do once we connect the cables, we also need to have a look at the preferences and make sure that everything is selected properly. So let's go here to the menu, and then we're going to go into the settings. Let's go into the sync. Here we have MIDI clock receiving the MIDI clock. So we don't want to receive anything, we want to send. So let's turn this off. Okay. We don't want to receive anything, we want to send. So let's go to the send and let's send MIDI clock, okay? And this might be a bit different on your MPC X, on your MPC Renaissance, but you'll have the same functions, okay? They might be in a different place, but it's basically the same thing. So you're going to send MIDI clock, and that's for you to synchronize BPM. So when I press play here, it will play, the play will start on the digitone as well. Okay, so that's MIDI clock. And then we also want to control the send ports as well. So in this case, I want to say MPC touch MIDI out port. And then you need to go into the other device and do the same thing. You need to receive the MIDI messages there. So I'm going to go into my digitone. I have sync. So let's go into the sync first. And it says clock receive. Yes, that's highlighted. Program change. We want that as well. Okay, I'm going to jump out of that. And I'm going to go into the port configuration as well. So it's set to receive from USB or from MIDI. We have the MIDI connected, so that's okay. I'm going to jump out of that and let's go to the channels. So it says track 1 will receive in channel 1. Track 2, channel 2, track 3, channel 3, track 4, channel 4. So which means that I can have four MIDI tracks on the MPC sending messages to these 4 tracks on the digitone at the same time. Okay, so that's all good there. I'm going to jump out of the menu there. With all that connected, I can now press play on my MPC, and that will start the play as well on the digitone. Okay, as you saw, you see the red light going across. It means it's starting at the same time. The BPM that's highlighted here, because this is the master, this is the one that's sending the message. It says 87 BPM, so that's the BPM that will be playing right there as well. If you can see that, it says 87 as well. So whenever you change the BPM here, it will follow on the digitone as well. Okay, so that's one of the features. You can actually sync. You can sync BPM, so you can make the two machines play at the same time. Okay, so the next thing that we need to see as well is MIDI tracks. I'm going to go in here into an empty track. So 7, it's an empty track, and I'm going to choose a MIDI track. Okay, we have a few selections that we can make here. One of them is sending the MIDI channel. It tells us what MIDI channel you want to send your information to. I'm going to quick jump here to the pad bank D. This is my C note, and I'm on the MIDI track, which means I'm going to be sending information, MIDI notes, to the digitone. The digitone is going to pick up on that MIDI note that I'm going to send, and it's going to play it. We're going to be using 90 BPM for this. I'm going to make it short. I'm going to make it just a 2-bar loop. And I'm going to play some notes here for track number 1. And by the way, I'm not using a keyboard here, but you can plug a keyboard into the MPC, send that message to the MPC, and then that message will be sent to the digitone, just so you can play keyboard instead of hitting on the pads. So I'm going to go to the pad perform. I'm just going to record some chords here. And as you can see, that is recorded here on the grid of the MPC, and the MPC is sending that message to the digitone. Okay, now what we can do is we can go to a different track. So let's go track number 6, and this one is going to be sending messages to channel number 2, which will be this track right there. Okay, let's go into the pad perform. Let's go into some notes. And obviously you can do all the design that you want here on the MPC. You can lower the notes, lower the level, increase the level, do all the editing that you are used to, but basically you're using your external gear as a sound module. I'm going to just delete this, cut that. I'm going to make sure that this one is hitting right there. Another thing that you have access to MIDI tracks as well is the ability to, if you go to program edit, you have all these tools, modulation, portamento, but the digitone in this case doesn't have portamento, so it will be useless. But you have other things like balance, effects, expression. You have all these ways of sending MIDI messages to your external gear as well that you can do, okay? But in this case, we have 2 tracks. So track number 7 is sending messages through channel MIDI 1, which will be track number 1. Track 6, MIDI channel 2, which will be track 2. And then we can go up to 4 tracks in this case, because the digitone has 4 tracks, means that we can have 4 MIDI tracks sending messages to the digitone, and these 4 tracks will be playing at the same time. So if I go here to track number 5 and open up another channel, so channel number 3, I'll be controlling track number 3, right? And I can take care of my sound here if I want. I'm just going to open the release a little bit. Okay, go to my pad perform and record. I'm really sorry about the shitty sound, but whatever. I just want to show you how this works. So now we have 3 tracks. So track number 7, 6, and 5, all through their own MIDI channels. Okay, that's how you can send MIDI messages from the MPC to external gear. Okay, and control the BPM at the same time. Now there's another thing that we want to have a look at as well. We want to look at program changes. I think program changes aren't really used quite a lot, but they're definitely a great tool when you are syncing a lot of machines together, because you can send information that you're going to change a pattern, you're going to change a sequence, and that information will be received by the other machine, and the other machine will change the pattern or change to a different sound at the same time. So program changes, if you have a look here at the bottom right there, I'm going to go to a different track, and right there at the bottom you can see that we have program changes. You need to know how your machine is receiving the program changes. I had my program change here set to auto. What I did, I had to change it to channel number 5, and here I went to a MIDI track, put it in channel number 5, and then I can change my programs that way. Okay, so I was playing in pattern number 7. This is the pattern that we were using. Okay, if I touch there and I change my program changes here, you'll see that I'm changing the parameters there. So 4 will be number 5, and that's because program change here says that 0 is 1. Okay, so whenever I'm changing, the program change here is going to change the pattern on the digitone. It's like changing the sequence on the digitone as well, and that's helpful, as you can see. So as you can see, if you change the program, you'll have access to different sounds in your external synthesizer, in your external gear. Now, if you want to do the same from the digitone to the MPC, you can do that. Obviously, you'll need to change the outputs and the inputs, and everything will be just the same. But you need to change the configurations as well. So you need to go into the settings and say that you want to send program changes instead of receiving the program changes, and you need to do that on both machines. So you need to place the cables, and then you need to go into the settings and tell the machines what you want to do. So that concludes our video for today. We had a look at how we can connect two machines at the same time and send MIDI messages to one another. So it's a very simple process. I hope that you guys took something out of it. And if you do have more than one machine, you can definitely do this at home and try to function and see how both work together, because you can get some really clever stuff depending on the machine that you have. You can make both of them interact at the same time and get really cool and crazy stuff from gear this way. So that was it. Thank you for watching the videos. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe below and comment as well if you want. Have any questions, do go to the comment section. Become part of the Patreon as well. I do post every day. I post new samples there. So that's where you can go and support the channel as well. So please go to Patreon. It's just $1 a month. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, thank you guys.